Welcome to Motherology, an opportunity to discuss all things motherhood, all the ups and downs and roundabouts and crazy. An opportunity for us to grow and tell our stories and become the best mums we can be, not because I'm going to tell you what to do, but because we're going to figure out how awesome we really are. Here we are, we're at song 7. Immovable. We've passed the midpoint. We've got over the hump and we're getting more and more into the meat of this album. This song is very precious. It's very deep. All of these songs are precious because they're personal. All of them are personal. All of them reflect some part of my personal journey and speak to my state of mind, my emotional state, all kinds of things that were going on in life. And they are a natural and logical one after the other of like, this is what was happening in my life. And when we get here, we've just had the song Who Am I? We've talked about identity and it's not resolved yet. We are still wrestling and wondering what that thing is that we are dealing with when it comes to who am I now? Like, what happened to me? Where did I go? Did I go somewhere? Or am I completely content and I'm going to disappear when my kids leave home? Like, what is my identity based in? And we get to Immovable and go, okay, there's something I have to find that's solid. I have to find what is real. And I also have to love in an immovable way when I'm feeling like I don't fully exist in myself, in my being, in my body, in my personality, in my loves and passions. And it's a complicated moment in one's life. So there are 3 reasons this song was written. First reason is raising teenagers. There are times when you feel like the only thing that you can do is say, I'm right here. There's nothing you can do that will make me love you less. There's nothing you can do that will turn me away from you. I am immovable in this love for you. No matter what. The interlude right before this song, right after Who Am I and right before Immovable, is an actual dinner conversation that I recorded with my children. My daughter is singing in the background. She's kind of singing a random, fast-paced, hum-de-dum song. And my sons are having an argument about pedicures and whether they would go and get pedicures together. And 2 of them are talking about pedicures and one of them is saying, "What's a pedicure?" And he's not being listened to by his older brothers. And so he yells it louder and louder until the very end with the piano of underneath it, the kind of, the life is still going on. There's still something happening. There's always an undercurrent of something going on. And above it, you've got 4 teenagers going, and our job as parents in that moment is to be immovable and let them figure a lot of stuff out for themselves and work it all out and make mistakes and struggle and learn and grow and face consequences. Please let your children face consequences. Please don't pay the consequences for them. I think I'm gonna have to do some parenting videos because there's so many things I've wanted to talk about in these little videos about the songs, but they all start getting into parenting. And this isn't the place for that. This is about the songs. So I'm going to do something else when it comes to parenting. But there's different techniques and skills necessary for teenagers than little children, and different skills and techniques for adult children going through difficult things than teenagers and little children. There are different stages in all of our lives, and this stage of our lives as mothers is super intense. You'd think like the physical demands have lowered. They have. You're not running around 24/7. You're not. And you're not bending over a child that's learning to walk and whacking their head on the floor every 5 seconds. It's a different kind of making sure they're okay, but there are consequences when they're older that are a little more tricky, potentially. And so this song is saying, look, you're going to go through stuff. Your kid, I love you. Here I am. Your world is shifting on its axis. Everything is changing. You're going through puberty. Your body's changing. Suddenly you're thinking about sex all the time, or you're thinking about what you're going to do with your life, or you're thinking about who you have a crush on, who you don't have a crush on, who doesn't like you, who likes you, do my friends like me, everything becomes so heightened and so different. So the emotional necessities of teens is very different than the emotional needs of little children, and it can throw people for a loop. The best thing you can do for your kids is to be immovable. I love you no matter what. I'm here for you. I'm not going to let you get away with everything. I still have stuff I have to teach you, but I'm going to have to give you a little more freedom, and I'm going to be steady. I'm going to be the calm in the middle of your storm. I'm going to do my best not to react to you when you do things to me. I will stay immovable on your behalf so that you have a solid foundation on which to figure yourself out, because that's all they're doing. Don't take it personally. They don't mean that they hate you. Not that anyone should ever say they hate their parents. My kids would get fully disciplined for any words, disrespectful words uttered from their mouth towards their parents. Nope, not okay. But they don't actually mean it. They're just trying to find out how far they can push away to become their own person, because they don't need you in the way that they used to. They want to be able to establish independence. They want to be able to go do things, but you have to stay right here. Don't be like those mums on those wedding videos that are hugging their sons and crying because they're getting married and they won't let them hug their new wife. Please don't be that mother. Please don't do that. Again, we'll get into parenting in a different video, but your job is to stay immovable and let them go away and come back, and go away and come back, and go away and come back, understanding what they're going through because you've been through it. You know what it's like. That was the first reason this song was written. I had a bunch of teenagers when I first started sitting down and writing this song, which was in 2020. I remember it very clearly. September 2020. I was stuck in Canada during COVID, couldn't get out. It was a very intense time in our lives. And I realized I needed to express this immovability of a foundation stone that I needed to be for our kids. My father-in-law was very sick. He was literally on his deathbed and we were stuck in Canada. It was a nightmare. And so this song sprung from that, but it also, secondly, it was written because in April 2020, just as everything was shut down, we qualified as foster parents, as a family. Because it's not just the parents, it's not just me that would have been fostering a child, it would be the whole family. So everybody had to qualify for that. We all had to be interviewed. We all had to have people come and look at our home. And David and I had to do a lot of training and we had to do a lot of reading. I had also worked for a while in the anti-human trafficking space. I'd met a lot of incredible survivors and overcomers, people who had been trafficked, children, boys and girls who had been trafficked, sex trafficked. And I was amazed by their lives and their stories. And for a lot of them, family members were involved. So here I am, understanding about what foster kids are going through, how I could provide a stable, immovable base for children, getting to meet these incredible people who had been through trafficking and had survived, not just survived, but they were thriving. They were doing so well. It was just incredible. And the idea of being a solid foundation for people who had been through a lot, whether they're foster kids or trafficked kids. And by the way, the reason we started looking into foster care was because a lot of trafficked kids in the US come out of the foster care system. Oops. So they have, if they don't have that foundation, that immovable foundation, as they reach adulthood and they age out of the system, they don't know what to do. They've got no one to turn to. Things are changing a little bit. The aging out went from like on your 18th birthday, bye-bye, you're out. Now it's that you can get support and help through your 21st birthday. There's also scholarships available for kids in the system, et cetera, et cetera. There's a lot more happening. There's a lot more awareness, but we live in LA County and there are at any moment up to or above 30,000 children that need foster homes or are in the system, the foster care system, in just LA County. That doesn't cover the whole city. Just LA County. It is an absolute crisis here. God had other plans for us. We did qualify. We were going to foster to adopt, and everything shut down. the whole system went through its own level of crisis because of COVID. And there weren't any kids coming into the system that needed housing. There was very little movement because there were no teachers recognizing that kids needed help. There was no home visits being allowed at that moment. Anyway, what ended up happening was a very different story for us, but still involving helping and protecting vulnerable children, which is the most wonderful privilege of my life, other than having my own family, was to provide help and support for people who are going through very difficult things. And we can all do that. We can all do that. We can become a mentor for a kid in a local elementary school, or we can sponsor a child that's going through difficult things overseas, or we can do all kinds of things. We can knock on our neighbours' doors and see if they need anything. It's incredible what you can do if you just take a tiny little step outside of your comfort zone and find the need, because it's always there. So we've been privileged enough to find and be shown and guided towards very specific needs that we are now able to meet, having not gone through the foster care, parent adoption thing personally, but now we're figuring it out with other people. Again, that may be something for another time, or it might be something that I'm not going to share. It's our journey, and that one's for us. But this song was also written with those kids in mind. What happens when your parents are struggling and they can't care for you anymore? What happens when your parents aren't struggling and you're taken away from them anyway? Because there are instances where that happens. What happens when you're put in a whole new family and you don't know them and don't know how long you're going to be there, how insecure you must feel? Foster kids arrive with a trash bag full of clothes, or half full, or barely full of their belongings. Not even a suitcase, because they're coming from often a very difficult environment where there's no suitcase for them to put their stuff in. So they're carrying their stuff around in a trash bag. Their whole life, their belongings are on their back. And I'm going, whoa, these kids, baby, I can see your tears streaming down your unloved face. Ooh, baby, I can feel the pain that's gone through generations of family dysfunction, potentially, that have brought you to this place. Whether their parents were foster kids, whether there's been abuse or neglect or addiction or all sorts of things. Never to blame the parents, ever. Always to help and support parents wherever possible to keep their kids. That's the number one priority. That gives help and support to parents who are at risk of losing their kids so that they can keep their kids. Kids need to be with their families wherever possible. Obviously, there are occasions where they do need to be removed. They are in a dangerous environment and the parents aren't capable of looking after them at that moment. But if you have a child that's been through all this stuff, what can we do to be immovable for that kid? How can we understand what they've been through? How can we empathize and care for a soul that has been so broken? And this song was written in September 2020, having qualified in April 2020, having been through all the training and looked at different kid profiles. It's heartbreaking. It's truly heartbreaking to see the need and to know that in that moment of COVID, being stuck in Canada, I couldn't meet those needs. I couldn't knock on a neighbour's door and say, hello, how can I help? I was in the middle of nowhere in Canada. Whole other story for another time. But right now, we're talking about immovable. How can I be immovable either for my own children or for other people's children that need that immovable love? And in my life, these are my songs, my journey that maybe are relevant to you. The third reason this song was written was to truly identify what is immovable in my life. When my identity as a person, as a mother, as all the things is going through kind of these shifting sands, like where am I finding the solid thing that I can truly plant my feet on and say, okay, this doesn't move. It's not external. It's not something that can shift in my life. Like I sing, you know that, guys, I can sing. But what happens if I lose my voice? What happens if I can't sing anymore? I'm not a singer. It can't be my identity. I can't base my identity in anything that can change. because then I lose myself every time something changes, and things change all the time. I might not ever lose my voice, but I don't know, I'm going to get older and my voice box isn't going to be as fabulous anymore. It's going to change over time. Who am I that is consistent, that cannot change? And this immovable thing for me in my life is the love of God. So this song is me for my kids. It's those of us that have loved and cared for children that are not our own, that need that love and care, absolutely immovable love and care, because they have experienced so much that has moved in their lives. They have experienced a lot of trauma. We have to be absolutely immovable. But it's also, where do I find the strength to be immovable? I have to have something immovable for me so that I can be immovable. And the way that Jesus put it was everything, the law and the prophets, it's all summed up in love the Lord your God with all your heart, soul, and mind. Love your neighbor as you love yourself. And we often miss what he's really saying there. Yes, he's saying love God and love others. But he's saying you only love God because he first loved you. We're taught that too in the Bible. If we're going to love God with our heart, soul, and mind, we must be loved in our heart, soul, and mind. There are specific things in Scripture and involved in being a Christian specifically that are indications of the love of God, specifically the cross. That is the key to all the love that God has for us, because that is the immovable moment in all of history that cannot be changed, is the love of God as expressed through the cross. If we receive that love, if we receive what God has given to us in love, if we receive him himself as love, God is love, then we are able to love him back. And if we're able to be loved by him and love him back, we're going to love ourselves. And we only love others as we love ourselves. There's a big word that's very small in there. A-S, as. As you love yourself is conditional. Love your neighbor as you love yourself. That huge word in there is so important. It's like the fulcrum. It's like the balance between a seesaw, the point at which the seesaw turns. If I don't love myself, I'm going to shoot and I'm going to miss because I'm not balanced. I am without love. But if I find the balance here, it can be too high. But if we find the balance of I am loved and I have love to give, I love myself, so I have love to give, then you are operating from true love. Codependency is not true love. Codependency is selfish. Codependency is when I give love to get something in return. We all do it all the frickin' time. We all need to stop it. Oh, I made you dinner. Did you like it? Do I get a compliment? Do I get to feel better about myself because I made you dinner? It's a silly example because we love compliments and compliments aren't a bad thing. But if we are doing things only to receive, I love you. Do you love me? It's codependency. If we are doing acts of service to feel necessary, even for our children, it's an act of codependency. It's not an act of love. Love is sacrificial. Love can give with expecting nothing in return because you've already been filled up with the love that is immovable. It's really hard. It's a really hard thing to figure out for yourself, and it's a really hard thing to practice in your life. But it is one of the most wonderful, vital, extraordinary things to start to settle into. Okay, I'm choosing to fold the laundry because I love you. Not because I need you to say thank you, not because I need anyone to do anything for me in return. I'm choosing to make dinner because I love you, because I want to see you fed and thriving in the world. I'm choosing to take you to school because I believe that you deserve a good education. I'm choosing to go to work to earn the money to pay the bills, to be able to have a life and a lifestyle that is going to be good for you. I want to provide shelter for you. I want to provide fun for you. So I'm going to do these things. My mum took extra jobs as a supply teacher or a substitute teacher, honestly, to pay for all the classes that she knew I needed to take because I had so much energy as a child. It was partly because she wanted to sleep, for sure. I'm going to give her that. That's not codependency. That's just necessary. People need to sleep. I didn't sleep. She needed me to expend all my energy, but I also I wanted to dance. I wanted to sing. I wanted to perform, but it wasn't performative. It wasn't like, I have to perform for applause. I'm not that person. Honestly, people don't believe me. Let me tell you, I am not that person. I don't get up on a stage to sing a song or do a video like this so that I will get applause. Genuinely, no. When I was a kid, all I wanted to do was to sing a song for people or to perform for them, to make them happy. That was my raison d'être. That's what I was doing. My reason for being was to make people's lives just a little bit better. It's always been that for me. I love doing this stuff because I feel like there are some people that are going to benefit from the things I have to say, and some people will hate it. That's fine. But the people that benefit from it, maybe I can make your life just a little tiny bit better. And that makes me so happy to be able to give that to people. And I don't often find out. And that's fine too. I don't need to know. I just know that it will help somebody somewhere, and that's enough for me. So that's why I would do the things I do. I'm very comfortable on a stage. Never found a stage I'm not comfortable on, truly. And it's not because I need people to applaud me. It's just, I'm just happy there. I'm public speaking, I'm good. Singing, good. Acting, good. Love it. Terrifying, but I love it. It makes me so happy because I know if I do my job well, I can make somebody's life just a little bit better. And that's it. That's all I need. So anyway, the performative side of love is not going to satisfy you. The doing things to get something back. You'll only be as satisfied as your score sheet is balanced. And that's not a fun way to live, because then you're relying on other people to make you happy. And most people can't do that for you. They really can't. Your children certainly shouldn't be doing that for you. Now, I appreciate my mum working the extra hours to be able to get me to those classes. That was sacrificial love on her part, even though it was also so she could sleep. There is a beauty in being able to say, I love you, I see your need, I see where your desires are. Let me do the thing that helps you fulfill that. My mum, saint that she is, loved education. She had a rough childhood. She chose to send all 4 of her children to private school because she knew that education was a key to our long-term happiness and being able to achieve passions and goals in our lives. So I lived in a very small town, and there were 2, we call them secondary schools, so middle and high school together in our town. One was a state school, public school, and one was a private school. And at the time, the state school was rough. Now it's amazing. I'd definitely send my kids there. But it wasn't great when I was a kid. Really, genuinely not good. Like kids throwing each other around the classroom instead of learning things or through the windows. And so the option was to go to the private school, which of course costs money. And my dad worked at sea, and he earned a very specific amount of money. There was no way to supplement his income. My mum worked as a teacher, but she didn't want to work full-time while she had kids at home. So she did occasional supply teaching, and then she would supplement her income wherever she could for extra things. And there was a time where they had all 4 of us in some kind of private education, whether it was paying for college or school. And we didn't have a lot of food as a result. But did I know that? Nope. Did my mum not eat dinner regularly? Yep. I didn't know that till I was a grown-up. That is sacrificial love, people. Makes me want to cry again. She just wouldn't eat dinner. She'd say she wasn't hungry. And we'd be like, okay. And we'd eat our dinner. And then she told me afterwards, there'd be a third of a can of beans left. And she'd eat that after we'd gone to bed. That is sacrificial love. Mama, We'll get back to my mum in another song. 3 things Immovable was written for. The main one at the very end there is it was written for you. It was written for you to know that there is a love that is available for you that is immovable, unconditional, never changes, no matter what. You can turn your back on it, you can run away from it, you can do whatever you want. It's still there. Doesn't matter. It's still there. It is absolutely immovable. So if you've heard this song before and you've thought about it when it comes to your kids, great. I want you to listen to it again. And I want you to imagine that the song is being sung to you by that which is immovable for you. Because you are loved.